And we are back on again, take two. And I am focusing on success and happiness, equating it to entrepreneurship matters. And if you can resonate with anything that I say, feel free to comment. And the question of today, in relation to these three key pointers, is can you genuinely be happy and successful at the same time? Just looking at from the perspective of an existing entrepreneur, or if you're in transition and looking to live like a fulfilled lifestyle, pursuing things which make you feel happier and more successful in life. So, for just to start off with, I'm sharing based on like my own perspective. And for me, it depends on your outlook, mindset wise, of what it means to be successful and also what your reference point is. Okay, so reference point is where you obtained, for instance, what success looks like. Is it external factors just in terms of like family environment, social environment that's influenced you to define success based on something that is out there? And this is something that I talked about previously in my other live session last week. So you can refer to that to just delve in a little bit more about what that looks like. Okay, so it's your own definition, but often I believe that what we do culturally, socially, economically is that we strive to achieve success based on what looks similar, based on what is familiar and something we're seeing visually out there as a representation of what success looks like. So it might be people you are class through the camera lens as like millionaires, billionaires, or people who are living their best life. And that to you would be like your reference point of this is what will make me happier, will make me feel more successful once I'm able to obtain what that success looks like based on an external factor. Okay. And then it also depends on what your end goal in life is, or what your end goal is in terms of when you embark on an entrepreneurship venture. And in most cases, you will find that people jump into entrepreneurship ventures, or even just being somebody who's like, let's say, a social influencer, without thinking about the end in mind for so many reasons, because it's something that's happened to them instantaneously and overnight they've been able to obtain this success, or you've jumped into it because it was the next best shiny bright object that you wanted to try out, and all of a sudden you find yourself in this like in this environment where it's like overwhelm, or let's say if it's on a social level, social influencers, you have more followers than you ever imagined. Then what is the next thing? What is the next best thing? And so that in itself can become influenced by things which can be good, but in some aspects can also be detrimental to one's well-being, because there's no end in mind in terms of what that success will feel like, in terms of feeling content and happy as the end result. Okay, so you will find that like social influencers or creative influencers who are online will always, some of them will be looking for the next best thing. Now I have, let's say 1,000 followers. I want to increase it to 100,000 or something like that to have more followers. But what is the meaning in having the followers? Yes, so the things that resonate to me and what is often perceived as success is, the first one is money and power. Okay, so those two go hand in hand. Money and power equates to being seen, having materialistic things, and being able to influence as well. You will excuse me, I was out and about and I have a bit of hay fever and drinking out of a bottle. Okay, so money and power, because then it's something about being influential, being part of like an inner circle that is deemed acceptable. And then the other things that come to mind as well, when what people dip into in terms of what success might look like, is what I mentioned before, loyal following, but on top of that, also dipping into trends. Okay, so trends is, let's say for example TikTok, because I am mainly like on dealing with social media, so that's why I'll reference a lot to social media and in some aspects small businesses. So social media trends, such as for instance that are most favored like on TikTok, which make people become popular, influential, also get the opportunities to work in partnership with like brands, which are all fantastic things. And what may get diluted in that is that when you follow a trend, you're not disrupting any new pattern, unless if you're the one who started the pattern. If you are the majority of the time following because it's popular, the likelihood is that you're also diluting what is authentically you, what you bring to the table in terms of your voice, your core values, your beliefs. And why that's so essential is that when we pick up something that's trendy, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur as a long-term thing, when we pick up trends, it's also good to show some aspects of your personality. Reason being is that that is also connected to a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. Okay, so for instance, if you didn't connect to your personality and you're just following trends and things don't work out, the likelihood is that you will have a much harder time bouncing back from the peaks and troughs. So it's the life lessons, what people call failures, but I like to say it's life lessons. When you are authentic within yourself, picking up trends but putting in your own spin, the likelihood is that you will gain some level of satisfaction because it's something that you're creating based from your own vision, your own imagination, although it's still out there by millions of other people. You're bringing in your personality. Okay, so that's what matters. And then the other aspects that I wanted to focus on as well, just in beyond following trends in order to obtain success and to feel happier, I'll also say that to add an addition to that is that those things may be pursued and don't necessarily always make you feel happier. And there's numerous reasons, just as the examples that I've given, of why you may not feel happier. So things which are not also considered is that the more successful you become, the likelihood is that you will become lonely. Okay, and I mentioned a little bit of that in my other live session as well. You may become lonelier because you will find that people who are creatives are obsessed or consumed in their work. So if you've got that work ethic where you're creating your own, what can I say? I'll call it a brand for now because I can't think of any other word. You're creating your own brand, whether it's intentional or unintentional. The likelihood is that your time will be invested on creating and remaining innovative, focusing on your vision. And that in itself can also create being alone, but not necessarily lonely. So, with that, there's a lot of people who don't factor that in, okay, because they're not ready for success, and they find that they're deep into it and they're very unhappy. Yeah, they're very unhappy because they didn't realize what that impact would have. That's why it's always essential to have an end in mind, to work out what is it that when you put yourself out there, or when you're going on a creative entrepreneurship journey, which you want to make yourself happier, it's looking at internally what will make you really happy. So you're defining it before you expose yourself to other variables which will influence you in the direction where you didn't expect you would end up. Okay, so that's where it's important to have a life vision, a purpose, a reason why, beyond anything else that's on like social media, because trends come and go. You will still be around. Popular things come and go. Materialistic things come and go. You will be the person who's still there, grounded, and hopefully holding on to what your core values are. And that is what will ultimately make you successful. So successful again can be defined in so many different ways. And I touched on a little bit that success and happiness, people, what makes you successful is not the success itself. You are the person who makes yourself successful. You are the success. Okay, so success is not something that's out there. Success is you within. What you can disrupt, what you can create based on your creativity. Okay. When you're able to tap into that, it is that you've reached that point where you are fearless and you're able to step away from what looks familiar. So, what I talked about before, the trends, you're able to take more risk in terms of bringing in innovative things that represent who you are as a person. Trends are fun, yes. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, in terms of feeling fulfillment, feeling happier. Even when it comes to like owning a business, it's about not necessarily just picking the next best trendy business that's out there, because that next best trendy business, yes, it's out there. Somebody else has been successful, but the reason that they've been successful is not because it's the next best thing. They might be the one who started it, and they started it because it was something that was in line with their core values, their life vision, and their passion, and it's fulfilling them. It's making them happier. So when you pick up somebody else's trend without all those components, the likelihood is that the more successful you become, you will find that you're not fulfilled, because it's not something you chose as a path that's aligned with your core values or your vision. And the reason why you may not choose something that's aligned with your core values or your vision is because it looks scary. It feels overwhelming, daunting. And the other thing that's out there, the next best thing, the shiny bright object, looks much easier to achieve. That's why often people go running and chasing after success in a different way, in a different direction. Okay, so when we go into talking about being in a different direction, I'm also going to focus on things that are forgotten when it comes to pursuing, or neglected when it becomes to pursuing success and feeling happier. The things that I've jotted down so that I keep on track are well-being, mind, body, and spirit. And this is something that I talked about, satisfaction, satisfaction with self, being grounded, and also be looking after one's well-being, because success often is I guess I can look at it like this, like a marathon. People are running or speeding up the process, expecting that when they win the marathon or the medal, then automatically they've like gained this success, not realizing that along the way there's implications. Okay, there's implications. Some of the implications are that success is not instantaneous, or the implications are that along the way you've been neglecting your well-being in order to obtain something you thought would make you successful, but when you obtain it, it doesn't really make you feel happier. Okay, so it's about being fully present, being fully self-aware, being okay with saying no to things that don't serve you best, and remaining true to yourself, authentic and in line with your core values. Choosing things that make you happier makes it an easier journey to create things that you're passionate about. So then your entrepreneurship journey in terms of success doesn't look like a model, like a job, maybe a job you may have left, which you then start to despise or dislike in order to keep up with the pretense of what success looks like, or in order to please other people. So I hope this is making sense. And then the other factor that is forgotten is this aspect of giving, focusing on intended purpose in life. So what giving looks like, it may be like, for instance, you're a content creator and you become obsessed with your numbers in terms of how many followers, or it might be you're a small business owner. You might be obsessed with, why are you not getting more customers? And what's being forgotten there is the intended purpose. And the intended purpose is also about your value offer. What value you're offering to other people before you're easily gifted with success. It's thinking about those type of things as well. Is that what makes life easier is that the more you give from a place of being genuine, the likelihood is that you will gain the followers which resonate with your value offer, what you have to give. It doesn't mean that you're giving always like for free, but it's thinking about giving something of high value in order for people to actually reward you for that. And I think we forget that nowadays. We think we are entitled, or it should be easily gained, like the number of followers, like customers. Remember, it's also about the know, like, trust factor too. People have to get to know who you are as a person, and they also have to feel as though they're benefiting from something, that you are connecting with solving problems or offering solutions if you're in a business, for instance. Then core values. Okay, so core values can also get lost just in terms of when it comes to neglecting factors in success. So core values, I was looking at or thinking about seasonal, what are they called? Not soap operas, but TV shows where there's competitions, or Love Island. Let me give you, for instance, Love Island. You go on it, but you're going on it because you want to gain instant fame. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is because I've been hearing people talking a lot about it, like via TikTok, saying how it's not equal in terms of the people that they've chosen, and why would anyone want to put themselves through that? And that's why I'm tying it into that. Is that you go on that show losing your core values because you want to be seen, or you want to gain that instantaneous fame, as an example. So that's where you lose your core values, because you're doing it out of the intention of others, but it's not necessarily, although you're trying to meet your own needs, it's not necessarily fulfilling your own needs, if that makes sense. It's more about getting that instantaneous fame at a high cost. Okay, at a high cost where you're not really fulfilled in what you've chosen to do. And then last but not least is the other thing that gets lost in the development of building success in whatever form it looks like for you is having fun, enjoyment in what you are creating. Okay, so this might be your empire, your legacy, being caught up more or consumed with the doing. So it's about also loving what you do, enjoying it, and appreciating it in the moments that you're in it. You know, you can be obsessed about creating, obsessively working 24/7 like most of us entrepreneurs do, but you can still, because if you are aligned with your life vision and your life purpose, it is in most cases you're doing something because you have chosen it, because it's something that makes you feel happier, that makes you feel satisfied, and not a lot of people do that. Again, it's due to our self-limiting beliefs. Okay. I noted down something, so I'm just going to read it and see if it makes sense. Okay, so I think where I'll end it off, I'll give like examples next time. What I noted down here, if I can say correctly or speak, acceptance that it's okay to take risks, to be successful and keep persevering through. Okay, so what that was basically is that part of being successful is taking risk, and that risk comes from letting go of self-limiting beliefs. And it also links to what I talked about in the beginning. It's about being able to disrupt patterns, and by disrupting patterns, it also means that you're comfortable in your own skin as much as possible. It's never going to always be perfect because we are on our own worst critics, but there's still some level of being authentically connected with self, so that you can create things that make you happier, that resonate and connect with other people. And then it's like a circle that fulfills itself in the short and long term, or depending on the outcomes that you're looking for in terms of success. So I hope everything that I've discussed today, not everything, but some, has resonated with you on some level in terms of what we started off with is, can you be, let me just go back to the question so that I say it properly and remember it. Can you genuinely be happy and successful at the same time? So in the beginning, I mentioned that I would answer, or hopefully I did. I'll blame my fibromyalgia brain of being forgetful on this one. So can you be genuinely happy and successful at the same time? I believe so, yes. And that is all based on being authentic within oneself, being genuine, choosing things which are aligned with your core values, your life vision, and your purpose. And your success, for me, is not defined by external factors, it's defined by what one is creating that makes you feel fulfilled, or makes me feel fulfilled, whichever way we want to look at it. But what we're talking about is on an individualistic level. Okay, so I'll end it off here. And yes, I will come on live again and talk about success and just give a little bit more tips on things to do. Ciao for me for now. Until next time.